Board of Education will come to order. Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
I move to enter into executive session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, or legal property acquisition issues. And student issues, Maryland Local Government Code, Article Section 9-512A, 1, 2, 6, and 10.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Everyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. The board will now enter into executive session.
That's great.
Board of Education will reconvene at this time. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The student board member, Peter Wiggum, will not be with us this afternoon. He's at the state convention for the Student Government Association, and he will not be able to attend. He's doing what he needs to be doing, and he's doing a good job. Please turn off your cell phones if you haven't done so already. I see Anna Laughlin's with us this afternoon, President of the Education Association. Anna, nice to see you again. How are you? Okay. Fine, thank you. And Harold Siskin, co-president of the St. Mary's County Public Schools Retiree Association. And I see Bonnie Green in the audience. Bonnie Green represents Patuxent Partnership. Bonnie, it's always nice to see you. Moving on, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Everyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I think the ayes have it. Board reports. Mrs. Allen.
I took the time yesterday to attend the Maryland Day program held at the St. Clements Island Museum. It was a wonderful program, and of, I think, particular note were two things to me. One was that the national anthem was sung by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Robert Jefferson, and what an incredible job he did singing that song. It was really quite awe-inspiring. And the keynote speaker was Captain Shevchuk, the commanding officer of the Patuxent River Naval Air Station. And his speech was particularly interesting to me as he drew parallels between his family and their background coming from the Ukraine and all that they endured for his grandparents leaving there and the journey they took to ultimately come to the United States. And he talked about the kinds of things that they had given up in order to reach the United States and to leave the Ukraine. And he compared that with what the individuals who came over on the Ark and the Dove gave up as well. It was very well done, and it gave me a lot of insights into the captain and his family. I thought it was really interesting. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Allen. Mrs. Washington.
Thank you. Miss Rita Hawkins, a second grade teacher at Lexington Park Elementary School, coordinated a program called Read with a Hero. This was the first Read with a Hero program at the school. The program was inspired by an effort to celebrate reading. The students had been studying heroes and discussing who inspires them, past and present. The elementary students also talked about people who really made a difference in life. Then the students shared ideas on everyday heroes. Therefore, local heroes were invited to the school to read to students. These local heroes included members of the military, parents, volunteers, Board of Education members, business owners, law enforcement, mothers and fathers, and a host of other local heroes. Heroes are people in our everyday life. I attended the program with Mrs. Crosby and Mrs. Allen. We read to two different groups of students. The event was held in the cafetorium. There were about 10 different groups per session. The event was held on 2 different dates. I attended on Thursday, March 20th, so that they could meet the schedule of busy heroes. Then I had to choose which book to read, which connected with our elementary students. This book is called Nelson Mandela. As a little boy, he loved to learn, so his mother had to send him away to school where he could learn, because there were no schools in his area. He is an international hero who stood up for freedom for South Africans. He was a hero. The next book are called Martin's Big Words. As a young boy, he loved learning and wanted to get big words to make good changes in the world. He is another international hero who said people should not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. He was a hero. The name of this book is Up the Learning Tree. The 8-year-old slave boy yearned to learn, even though it was forbidden. A white teacher during slavery took an enormous risk to help a slave boy learn to read, even though if she were caught, she would lose her job. She did it anyway. She was caught and threatened, and she lost her job. She believed everyone has a right to learn. She was a hero, and the slave boy was a hero too. Abolitionists. The name of this book is Under the Quilt of Night. Abolitionists. During slavery, these white abolitionists took amazing risks to help slaves get to freedom. If they were caught, they would be jailed, beaten, killed, or run out of town. They were heroes. And finally, this book is called Amazing Grace, an 8-year-old girl. Grace was a girl who wanted to play the part of Peter Pan. She was told she could not play Peter Pan because she was a girl, since Peter was a boy. Then someone said she couldn't be Peter Pan because she was black. Grace believed in herself, studied diligently for the part, and practiced dancing all weekend. Do you know who got the part? Grace, of course. 8-year-old Grace was a hero. Those are just some of the great books that we have in our media center. The message to the student is you can be anything you put your mind to if you work hard, believe in yourself, seek help when you need it, and never give up. We can see that there are many international, national, and local heroes who inspire our students every day. Many are right here in our homes, neighborhoods, and community. That's why St. Mary's County is a great place to live. I want to thank Dr. Curtis Austin, the principal at Lexington Park Elementary School, who supported the Read with a Hero program. Congratulations to Mrs. Hawkins for coordinating the first Read with a Hero program, and Mrs. Patricia Davidson, the secretary, who greeted us at the door and made sure we signed in appropriately. That's just one of the many great programs in our school system where our teachers are working hard every day and our community members are being nice by supporting our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Washington. Nice read.
Thank you.
Mr. Matthews.
Yes, sir. Got to head to Bowles Farm Friday the 14th for Becca's Scholarship Fundraiser. Ms. Crosby, Dr. Raspin, Ms. Washington, Dr. Martirano, we all had a good time together.
Wonderful.
Becca is St. Mary's County's Business, Education, and Community Alliance. They're a tax-exempt organization in the county that helps our students raise money for their scholarships. Last year, they raised over $300,000 in local scholarships. It's just one application, so it makes it real easy. But the dinner that we went to helps raise $25,000 to support the 25 individual $1,000 scholarships that they apply. It was a great time. They have a silent auction, but you know, my favorite part of the night, and I wish I had it on video.
I heard.
I think there's a video floating around here. It was the sheriff in the soup. They debuted singing. You did great, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I tell you, you
Thank
go above and beyond for
Thank
the
you.
students of St. Mary's County, and I appreciate it. You did
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. There will
Since
be,
I wasn't able to be there, I want to see the video.
We need to find it.
I would
think
put in a
I
link
think
on my
there's a video
website
or
to
two.
future performances so people can see that as well.
Mr. Matthews, let's get the guitar out of the back room.
I-
Put a little rendition here. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Matthews.
It was a great time.
Mrs. Crosby.
I'm only supposed to talk about one thing, but I can't resist saying you're on my Facebook
All right. That's good.
at Becca.
Yeah, good.
Okay, I'm going to talk about my visit to King's Christian Academy. I've never been before. And my neighbor who lives across the street, his name is Alex Westbrook, came to my door during the snows, and he said, Mrs. Crosby, would you write me a recommendation to get into the National Honor Society? And I said, sure, I will. So I had him in, sat him down, and had a long talk with him. Well, he did get on, not because I wrote it, but he's a nice young man. He's also, during the summer, he's an intern on the base. And he gets paid, that's nice. And then he'll be an intern again this year and get paid. This year, he's now looking for college scholarships. I noticed, I compared their pledge with our pledge, and it's a different, all the chapters have different names. But the main thing I noticed, because it is a Christian academy, not that we're not all Christians or whatever we happen to be, but within the pledge, there was a lot of mention to God. I mean, to Christ and to God. I did notice that, which you might expect, which is fine. The one thing is, these schools do allow us, and Dr. Martirano also has spoken of this, they are good. It is, it allows for diversity, and it allows to keep our class sizes down. We're spreading everybody out. That's what it, you know, what it amounts to. So I had a real good time. I'm glad I went. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Crosby. The Becca celebration was really beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't written a check out to Becca to help students, please do as soon as you can. The scholarships are coming in, scholarship applications are coming in, and of course I work with the Lexington Park Lions Club on this, and we have about 57 applications already coming in, and some of you in this room I'm sure have already been notified about the amount of applications that are coming in, and that Dr. Schaller is dealing with his committee. In any event, it's a great thing. We should all support it, and we are supporting it, and it helps many students. Even though some of the scholarships are $1,000, but you know that helps to go to paying the bill, and some of the other scholarships run up into the thousands, and that's great. So, great program. Continue to support it. Thank you very much. That brings us to the superintendent's report. Dr. Martirano.
Great. Good afternoon, board members. Great to see you. I'll try to make my report rather brief tonight because I know we have a number of recognitions, and I want to also move to the items that I was going to include in my report, but I'm anxious to move to the action item regarding the school calendar adjustments, so we'll move through these as quickly as I can. Any announcements regarding the school calendar will be discussed at that period of time. Recognizing we had snow again last night, I start with the fact that for the third time, we attempted to schedule our community meeting where we would present information to the community. Apparently, Mother Nature does not want that to occur either. Our third attempt, and by virtually impossible to reschedule that based upon the demands of the calendar moving forward. I do say that the community, that we chronicle a series of online videos in terms of our YouTube channel, and that I want people to tune into that. And there is a very detailed presentation I made to the community back before the holidays on the State of the School System address, and I asked people to tune in because it was an opportunity to talk about our current data points as well as our challenges, and as we move forward, and to report to the community always about the best interest of what we're doing for our young people. So unfortunately, that did not occur, and that's very directly related to the weather. Again, I appreciate the fact, the comments about the Becca event, a phenomenal event, and my heart is warmed every year as we will attend an event coming up here in the spring regarding the distribution of those funds, the scholarships to our young people, and the contributions our community makes, because we want every child to be able to go to college, to be prepared for careers and college, and that support locally is absolutely phenomenal to see the number of young people served by that particular program. I want to also acknowledge our February and March school system shoe fund contributors. Another piece that we're very proud of, to make certain that young people are equalized, those who have means of support that need additional support regarding shoes, that we are able to provide the support to make certain every young person has new shoes on throughout the school year. I want to thank Joan Devlin, Mary McLinn, Mr. and Mrs. Darrell Dodds, Rowena Bossio, Christina Huron, Janet Perryman, Grace Baker, and the Church of the Redeemer. We appreciate greatly your contributions, and we encourage other individuals to constantly donate as well. This is one contribution where the money comes directly to the school system. There's no administrative costs, and those monies go directly to buy and purchase shoes for our young people and go directly to cover the feet of our students. So I'm very proud of that program. I also want to acknowledge something as well. We constantly have, as you would expect, in a very high-performing school district with financial support coming in from a variety of different places, federal, state, grants, local. The school system is always accountable for all the various pieces. So we have a number of audits that are always going on, no different than other school systems. Recently, we had an audit that I want to call out, pleased to report that we were very much in compliance with our areas of the Maryland State Department of Education, the McKinty-Vento Homeless Education Program Review. Now, why am I highlighting that is because there's times where, we have a tendency to think that we're a very affluent community and everybody's fine. But I've talked to you about our indicators within our community meeting, that our free and reduced meals economically disadvantaged students have increased up 10% over the last several years. So over 30% of our students qualify for free and reduced meals. We've also seen an uptick in terms of the number of students that we have in the homeless category as well, to anywhere that fluctuates anywhere between 150 to 220. And so in a community as prosperous as ours, we do have a number of homeless students who attend our school system, and what makes me feel extremely happy is the fact that the young people are in our schools and there's no differentiation. We want to make certain the services are equalized and that the students are not feeling any different or left out, and we want to make certain they're able to engage in the instructional program. So I commend Dr. Ridgel and his shop, specifically Annie Gast, who is our homeless liaison, and other school system personnel for providing the required documentation for this outstanding review. Just a piece to add to the overall dimension of the school system. Also want to acknowledge in the audience tonight, where is my good friend Mark Zwick? Mark, if you would stand up, please. Mark, what school you go to? Leonardtown High School. I knew that, but I wanted you to tell everybody else. One of our Boy Scouts from Troop 2819, is that correct? And Mark is here observing all of you, so feel extra pressure regarding communications, as well as citizenship in the community. I think right now you're seeing a lot of that in action. Quite frankly, the communication piece, the need for a clear message. This board members right here, elected officials representing the community at large about educational issues, and then how all that plays out regarding citizenship within the community based upon that. So we're very proud of you, glad that you're here. Working on your Eagle Scout as well, is that correct? So setting that, very proud of you for that. Stay persistent and continue to set your goals and work on that. I'm sure you're going to achieve that. So we want to give him a round of applause for being in attendance tonight. Thank you for being here. Dr. Marr, what troop was it last week?
Troop 561.
Troop 561. I had the opportunity to speak to over 50 students who are involved in the Scouts. My goodness. And the topic, again, communication must be the topic at hand. And I was so impressed with them, the questions that they asked me regarding the need. There was a lot of questions about snow days, but we moved beyond that, the proverbial topic. And board members, I'm just very happy with where we are as a school system as we move forward to meet the needs of young people. And I'm delighted to be able to present to you tonight a plan to address all the snow days that we've had. And I wore this tie specifically. I want you to know that. It's a very old but true tie that I have in the back of my closet, the brightest one that I own. And so that is to say no to winter and bring on spring intentionally. So this is my symbolic nature that says push it away. So on that note, Dr. Raspa, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Martirano. Moving into recognitions. First recognition this evening will be the Patuxent Partnership sponsorship with the Space Camp. Mr. Smith.
He's on his way, and I'll join momentarily.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Patuxent Partnership has very generously, each year for the past several years, provided funding to our STEM program to support Summer Space Camp. This program is open to students grades 2.
Are you on, Scott? Excuse me. Is that on?
It is on.
There we go.
Sorry.
I can hear you now.
Okay. The program is open to students in grade 2 through 11 and involves a week-long experience in immersive STEM activities such as rocketry and robotics for all of the learners involved. This year, the partnership has provided $30,000 to support and enhance this summer program. This is just one of the many ways the Patuxent Partnership supports St. Mary's County Public Schools and all of their STEM initiatives. Our staff recommends that the Patuxent Partnership, their Executive Director, Ms. Bonnie Green, and their Board of Director Treasurer, Mr. Michael Dugan, be recognized for their sponsorship of the STEM program. Thank you.
Absolutely, and join us with the red, walk up the red carpet, if you would. Fine, friend. How are you? Oh, my gosh. Good to see you. Wonderful, wonderful. Come on over here. So let me say a few words. And board members, you know, I get so charged up by the work that occurs in our school district, and this is one of the many reasons. Miss Bonnie Green is such a friend, personally and professionally. She is somebody who takes all those actions, makes those words actionable, provides the support necessary. I can read off a litany of the work that, the contributions that she's made from our robotics program to our space camp to our National Flight Academy, a true partner and a very action-driven person. So if you would, join me in a round of applause for Miss Bonnie Green for the Patuxent Partnership, who's just phenomenal, who's very humble. And then Michael Dugan, a member of the board as well, and the work that we've done together with the various board members that have been in attendance. And we are just, I want you to know and carry back to the board members in general, the support that you provide allows all of this to occur for us. At a time when there's great impingement upon the educational budgets, the additional pieces that need to occur oftentimes don't happen in terms of the operational budget. And that's a hard conversation to have with community when you see the total aggregate amount of the school system budget and you think that's a lot of money. But as far as once we take care of the salaries and benefits and the utility bills and the ever skyrocketing health care issues, that we have this kind of support that allows us to advance the program. So I am just absolutely thrilled to have you in attendance this evening for the work that goes on at the Patuxent Partnership. In so many ways, we were together this week with our visit with Barbara Mikulski. I was able to attend that event as well. And what I was pleased about is the fact that when the senator was here, her acknowledgement of the educational work in the system in terms of the whole community.
Not scheduled to speak, but she asked me from you.
Exactly, and I always got that 1-minute speech in my pocket to talk about anything in the school
Well,
system.
I hope that photo that we were trying to get made it to your Twitter or your
It did indeed, and she is a powerful speaker, a powerful person, and very clear about her support for Southern Maryland. So lots of great interactions constantly. Again, Bonnie in particular meets with us on a regular basis about the implementation for the Flight Academy, but I want to thank just the Patuxent Partnership, the board members. Please carry that back. They know how much I recognize their work, and it's genuine, and I know a number of the board members personally. But everybody, please, in the audience, if you would, join me in a big round of applause for them with that. And already gave me this check, which I'm thrilled about. Didn't have to wrestle them out of the down for that. Would you like to say some words as well?
I'm very fortunate to work with a board at the Patuxent Partnership who values greatly education, especially in the STEM disciplines. So my work reflects their guidance to me about what's important for our membership and this community. So participating in the summer space camp, robotics, we had Dr. Martirano at our recent Science Fair Awards. All of these are opportunities to support these education programs and to provide recognition for our students. And our board members, and Mr. Dugan is our treasurer, so he is always keeping track of what we can afford to do. This is very important to them, and I shall carry your message back to them, and Mike will too. So thank you so much for this recognition.
Thank you. Wonderful. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Oh, by the way, I might want to say something extremely important. Mrs. Allen, would you like to read that amount?
$30,000.
I might just want to say how important that is, the total amount, $30,000. Another round of applause if you would, please. So, handing that over to that may help a little bit with the other previous conversation that we were having too. Thank you so much.
The next recognition is St. Mary's County Middle School Spelling Bee, Miss Michelle Gallant-Wall.
Good evening.
Good evening.
On March 5th, which was almost a snow day, but not a snow day, we were freaking out a little bit, we hosted the 36th annual Middle School Spelling Bee at Leonardtown High School. And our sponsors this year, as they have been for numerous years, were the Enterprise, Cheney Construction, CSM, and SMECO. 34 public and parochial school students participated, and Kathy Allen was back again this year as our caller. Thank you so much. It was a great night. And we're going to recognize the students from St. Mary's County Public Schools who took 2 out of the 3 top positions at that event. And they're here tonight, so I'm going to bring them up, and I think Dr. Martirano will say a few words. So our third place winner was Faith Davis from Margaret Brent Middle School. Come on up. And second place, let me get Mark up here. Can we get Mark up here too? Okay. She's wearing pink. You guys are coordinated too, just like you would if you're going to prom. And our second place winner from Spring Ridge Middle School is Mark Bollier.
You guys respond. Come on over here with me, which is wonderful. Okay, so very good. We got your certificates over here. Now get closer to me, because I enjoy this so much, as you can tell. Your family members are here. Come on over closer. I mean, we're not going to bite in that sense. You know that. So Faith, so tell me, that night I was extremely busy and had 3 different events to go to. So we had the robotics, we had the science fair recognition, there was a playoff basketball game at Great Mills, and then I made it up to the spelling bee as well. And the pronouncer was our own Miss Kathy Allen, correct? So give her a round of applause. She must have, very nice round of applause, very good. She did a nice job of that. So Faith, you were at 3rd place at the middle school level, correct? So tell me, if you would, what was the word, the last word that caused you the most challenge?
It was ergonomics. I spelled it with an A instead of an O.
So do you now forever know how to spell that correctly? I mean, that's the case. You'll never forget. I remember being in the spelling bee early on, just at the classroom level, and whatever the word was, I never spelled that wrong ever again. You just sort of know that. So you did a phenomenal job. Tell me, if you would, and I think it's important for individuals, I am a very strong supporter of spelling bees and the importance of it. How did you prepare for this? I mean, I'm always intrigued, so come on over here as well, both of you, just get a little closer in terms of the microphone. How did you prepare? Come on close up here.
So I've never been a great speller, but when I won the classroom spelling bee and then eventually the school spelling bee, our teacher gave us this big list of really hard words, and then I just studied with my mom. She would read the words for me, and then I'd spell them. So
Very good. Was Mom a good speller in school? Very good. Excellent. So that's obviously in the family, you know, in that sense. So good work. A lot of individuals visualize the words. Do you try to visualize them? Is a lot of visualization and pronouncing at that level? Very good. Give her a round of applause if you would, Faith, if you would. Another round of applause. Mark, come on over here as well. And pronounce your last name. I'm very sensitive to the correct pronunciation of words. With a name like Martirano, I got Dr. Maserati last week. I mean, I'm just, it's amazing how the words, how they can take those words. Say your last name for us.
Bollier.
Bollier. Okay, very good. And you received second place at the middle school level. And what word was it for you? Because we had the conversation that evening.
Succotash, and what a horrible thing to lose to. It has lima beans in it.
I know. I remember that succotash. And boy, growing up, I had to eat succotash, and quite frankly, I like it. But you will never forget how to spell that one either, right?
I made the same mistake as her. I spelled it with an A as opposed to an O.
How about that? And what was your strategies in terms of preparing for the spelling bee?
For the last 2 years of her middle school career, my older sister Michelle was in the spelling bee and won both her times there at the county. So we had flashcards from her last time studying, and that's what I trained on. Except
That sounds like you're in good company to do that. If she won first, that's great.
except I had a bit of a different technique. For our PS3, there is a keyboard attachment, and I use that to text out my words.
So what you're trying to
That's how
tell
I
me
spelled
is,
them.
as you're doing all of this, you have turned that into some kind of instructional benefit for you to learn?
Yes.
Wow, that's really good. High five on that. Very good to that. So who do you have? Do you have any family members here tonight?
Yes, my mother's in the audience, back
Faith?
row.
Hi, Mom. How are you? Good. And Faith, who do you have here with you tonight?
I have my brother, my dad, and my mom.
Okay, very good. All right there as well. So all these wonderful spelling families that we have here. So here's your certificate as well. Keep up the great work. Where do you see yourself in the future? Where do you think? What do you see yourself doing in the future after school? Have you thought that far?
Not really.
What's your interests?
Well, I'm in the STEM program, so
Okay.
I have a lot of interest in engineering.
Okay, very good. Very good. I can see that in terms of the mind, the way that's developing. Wonderful. Faith, where do you see yourself in the future?
I would like to be a criminal intelligence analyst.
Wonderful.
So.
Two very smart young individuals, I can tell just by your eyes, so bright, lots going on in your minds. So give them, if you would, join with a thunderous round of applause for both of these fine individuals. And what we're going to do next, do you have something else as well? Okay, so what we're going to do now is the board members, Dr. Rasmussen, I'll let you make the announcement.
Yes, we're going to take some pictures at this point.
Yeah,
And then we'll
Mrs. Green and Mr.
continue-
Dugan need to leave as well as the
Yes.
students. So we're going to we'll break it and do the rest of the recognitions. We'll
Right,
get some
then we'll
pictures.
continue with the recognitions after the break.
Yes. So
we'll
board
take a
members, if
break
you
at
would
this
join us
time.
up here, let's start with the students.
I talked to her about it already, but thank you. Yeah, she had a chapter going.
We have one more recognition, and after the recognition, we'll take a 10-minute break. Gifted and Talented Teacher Award, Jessica Cortugno.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to recognize Ms. Linda Roniger for achieving the Outstanding Educator in Gifted and Talented Education Teacher as a Leader Award. Ms. Roniger is an instructional resource teacher at Letty Marshall Dent Elementary School. She works closely with teachers and students in her school building. Ms. Roniger has been very active in gifted education and is currently pursuing additional coursework in this area. She has taken leadership roles in creating curriculum materials and resources for teachers to use when implementing the gifted mathematics program in our elementary schools. She has also worked closely with her colleagues from across the county on multiple occasions to increase teacher capacity. Ms. Roniger was recognized at an awards celebration on February 27, 2014 in Glen Burnie, Maryland, where she received the Outstanding Educator in Gifted and Talented Education Teacher as a Leader Award. The Maryland State Advisory Council on Gifted and Talented Education presents this award to teachers who work directly with students who are gifted and talented or the teachers of students who are gifted and talented. Recipients of this award are pursuing ongoing professional development in the field of gifted education and demonstrate peer leadership in this area. Ms. Roniger clearly meets all of these criteria. Please join me in recognizing an outstanding educator in gifted and talented education, a teacher as a leader, Ms. Linda Roniger.
We sure do. This is wonderful. This is great. Very good. So another wonderful night. Outstanding job in terms of the overview, Jesse. How long have you been teaching with us?
This is my 10th year.
Yeah, because I met you very early on.
Hired by Kelly Hall 10 years ago.
Right. And where did you start with your experience?
Leonardtown Elementary.
Yeah, come on over here a little closer. Leonardtown Elementary.
I started at Leonardtown
Right.
Elementary.
And then from there?
Letty Marshall Dent.
Right, exactly. And now have been making great contributions in terms of the area of gifted and talented education. And board members recognizing there's additional expectations placed on our educational system with making certain we're implementing the policies expected from the state board in terms of adjustments here. And you just represent the best of the best in terms of instruction
Thank
and
you. I really
understanding.
enjoy the program, and Jesse does a
Yeah.
wonderful job of setting it up for us.
Oh, I know.
And
So
Becky did as well last year. So.
Becky's there
Yeah,
as
so
well. Great
very
supports.
Fortunate to have all that support, yes.
And our students are benefiting. And you have your principal here as well.
I do. I have Kelly Courtney.
Miss
here, yes.
Kelly Courtney is here as well. So we are so proud of you. I just
you
wanted
so
to
much.
acknowledge that. Give her a round of applause if you would. And we want to get a picture as well. You're just anxious to get off stage. All our teachers are so, they never like the limelight. I'm not even finished yet, and she's moving off the stage. So we want to congratulate her, and we'll get a picture here momentarily as well, okay? Great seeing you. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, very good.
Okay. At this time, the board will take a 10-minute break, and we'll have a picture, yeah. There are no public comments. Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
Everyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Right, the ayes have it. Action item, school calendar adjustment for 2013-2014. Dr. Martirano.
Okay, very good. Let me move my way over there. Jim, if you can get me set up on this. Thank you. I have a number of pieces of paper that I want to share with you this evening, board members. So I need to tell a story tonight. And the story is very critical because it's a very important action item this evening. It's based upon the constant challenges that we've had this year based upon our weather. And so let me just start with defining. I've got several pages in front of me that memorializes and accounts for all of the days that we've had inclement weather that has impacted our instructional program. So quite frankly, in summary, to date, since starting on December the 9th, I might add, December the 9th was our first weather event of 2013, and carrying into yesterday evening as well, we've had a total of 12 full days of school that St. Mary's County Public School students have missed. In addition, there have been 7 additional days of delayed/late openings, 2-hour delays. Total, obviously, 19. And then 4 more days where after school and evening activities were disrupted and canceled as well. So for a grand total of 23 days during that period of time where we had some form of disruption in our school system due to inclement weather. So the big question has been how we would address all of these days. And who would have thought that yesterday, the 25th of December, 26th of December, or excuse me, of March, you can tell where I'm at, that you would expect the snow, that we would have snow that canceled an event last night, well into spring. And I told you I wore this pink tie on purpose to push away winter and all of that. So I want to now present to you the plan that we have devised for you to move forward with a school calendar that allows us to meet the obligations of law. Remember, by law, state law says that all young people in the arenas of our school system need to be in school 180 days. We also need to monitor our hours of instruction, and we have met that based upon our level of compliance with that, way our schedule is. And we've got to make some adjustments to our current calendar to move us forward. Keep in mind that yesterday, the State Board of Education approved a process for the review of waivers, meaning the exemption from the 180 days. And that process was defined yesterday. Basically, they delegated the authority of the state superintendent to consider them on a case-by-case basis. As I informed this board and the community, I made a very strong and compelling case to the state board defining precedent based upon in 2012 that we had 10 days that we used for snow, or excuse me, 2010 that was, because it was 10 for the class of 2010. And that we used that as precedent as well because we had received 5 waiver days during that year. We also mitigated locally. What the state board was looking is what did we do locally to ensure that the majority of our instructional program was maintained and kept in place. And that was looked very favorably as well in terms of the fact that we used President's Day. Through your actions back in one of our other meetings in February, you made some adjustments further to the calendar, and I'll bring all of this together as I continue to present this. So as I state, the process was there, and I've got some information to convey to you as a result of that. So, 12 days, big math problem. 12 days, we've got to make those days up somehow. We build 5 days into our calendar. We build 5 days into our calendar, subtract that from 12. We utilize President's Day, subtract that from 12, gives us a grand total of 6 left outside of the calendar that we've already built in. If you remember, I came to you with additional actions that if we needed to, we would use the day after Easter, Easter Monday. We would extend the school year to the last day to June 13th, and we would use May 2nd. Put those over on the side right now. But in that process, that was at a time when we thought that's all the time that we would need. But the weather continued, the winter got worse, and therefore the state defined a waiver process, and again, we've utilized that in the past. With the approval of the board, I submitted a letter that indicated that we would seek a waiver for 5 of those days. Now again, we've missed 12. That, if you're adding the 5 plus the 1 plus the 5, is 11. And then how we would use the additional day. So I'm pleased to inform you that St. Mary's County Public Schools met all the criteria of which the State Board of Education is looking to for the approval of waivers. They want to also recognize that it's not something that they do all the time. They want to comply to the law, but recognize the acts of God, the things in terms of nature that impinge upon that. We received the first approval of any school district in the state of Maryland right now. We received all of that, and I received right before we went into executive session confirmation from the state superintendent that the letter that I submitted was approved for the full 5 waiver days. So now, if you're following along, we have 5 days built in. We utilize President's Day, and we're going to take advantage of the 5 waiver days, meaning that we will not have to make those days up, and the school year will be shortened by 175 days. But I had to demonstrate what we would do as far as to mitigate by going to school on President's Day, and then we have one more to make up. I am recommending tonight the approval of this entire plan, which includes then the utilization of May 2nd, the professional development day, that we would open our schools to students on that day. I feel the other 2 options cause us concern, and I'm going to vet those right now for you. Obviously, by approving this action, the other 2 days need to be considered in total. One of the values that I heard consistently from our community was to keep spring break intact as much as we could. We were going to start whittling away at the edges if we needed to, and one of those days would be the first one we were going to consider was the Easter Monday. I heard from members of our community regarding the fact of the religious holiday as well. And the fact is that I would have to seek an additional waiver on top of the waivers that we've already submitted for President's Day for the holiday, on top of the waiver for the exemption from the 180. And so we wanted to keep that intact. I did not want to go further in terms of the school year. So as it stands now, if you endorse and accept this plan, the last day of school for students will be June the 12th, the day scheduled on the calendar if we utilized all the 5 days. So June 12th. If we go any further into the school year, into the next week, it goes into a whole different week of school. It starts pushing our teachers further into that week and starts having a bearing in terms of summer offerings, vacations, etc. So clearly, I wanted to capture another full day of instruction, a meaningful day of instruction, I might add. May 2nd is not the last day of school, and on that last day of school, oftentimes, if that were to be a half a day, we would have to bump that up. The fact is, the quality instruction that occurs at the end of the day the end of the school year, the last day of school is much different than what occurs in the middle of May in that sense. And would also allow seniors to have an additional opportunity to make up their days as well before graduation, so that they would have that day of full instruction as well. So my plan is for you to endorse this evening is the fact of the 5 inclement weather days that we built in. We'll take care of obviously 5, 1 more using President's Day, which you already approved. 5 days, accept that recommendation and approval from the state, the waive days, and the utilization of May 2nd. So additionally, what this means for us, and I've stated some of these things already, is that the week of spring break remains intact. There is an adjustment that I have to make because I have to monitor the legality of our distinction of our employee groups, our 12-month employees. When we closed down for President's Day, that was a holiday officially scheduled for them based upon the number of allocations for 12-month. I'm moving that holiday to the spring break date, which would be the Thursday before Good Friday. So the school system will fully be closed down for 12-month, 10 and 11th on Thursday, Friday, obviously Saturday and Sunday, and Easter Monday. That makes us whole with our 12-month employees. I will be having conversations with our union president, Anna Laughlin, regarding then any additional adjustments regarding the last day for our teachers and how all that balances out as well. So conversations will be occurring about that. But as of now, the last day for our students will be June 12th. And then we've taken care of the holiday. The next piece that I need to inform you about is obviously the charter school. They are in a little different distinction because they had 11 days that they missed because one of the days that we closed, they were already off in that sense, and it didn't affect them. Calvert and Charles got one of those days as well. We've never seemed to hit that level. We always seem to be right in the sweet spot where we don't get that extra treat in that sense. But again, we always err on the side of safety, and we well know that, and we'll do what we need to do. So the charter school missed 11 full days, 6 days due to delayed opening, and 3 for evening activities, off on 1. How they will make their days up, very similar. 5 days built in from the calendar. They too will be utilizing the May 2nd date, and they will take the 5 days advantage from the waiver, so that's a total of 11. They don't have to do any further adjustments, but they will do the May 2nd date as well. And again, their last day for students will be, because there is an adjustment based upon the overall calendar, their last day of school will be Friday, June 13th for their students because of how it all sort of plays out at the end. And all of that said, I want to be very clear in my communication on this next point because you took action at your meeting in February where you said that you approved those other days that I talked about, the day after Easter Monday, May 2nd, and the last day of school adjustment as well. So very clearly what I'm asking tonight is that the board approves the most current calendar adjustment that I have presented this evening for the SMCPS calendar, the Chesapeake Public Charter School calendar, that will supersede any other calendar adjustments made at the February 12th, 2014 board meeting. And again, I add my final piece that this takes into account that we're still within compliance with our seat hours for compliance at the elementary, middle, and high school level. So my hope is, this is my definite statement to Mother Nature, that we've made our adjustment, that we are adjusting our calendar. I'm very appreciative that the state board put in place their plan, that Dr. Lowry has approved hours today at the 3 o'clock hour. It'd be right before we went into executive session. So I could bring this out to the community, to the board, to give the community clear knowledge of this, because I've heard people putting plans on hold for spring break, people putting plans on for further summer vacation plans because of that last day of school, etc. And this should calm everybody down. And I'm giving a direct order to my students: stop wearing your pajamas inside out. Enough of it. We are done with snow for this year. And so I say that recognizing that if we do have to make additional modifications, I'm not going to be making decisions based upon jeopardizing student safety, employee safety. But it's our hope that at the end of March, that we feel typically by this time of the year it's acceptable time to make these adjustments, but you never know. So right now, this is the latest, greatest plan, gives our community notice. Our spring break remains fully intact the entire time. Adjustments for our 12-month employees, communication about the last day. We're in compliance with state law. We're in compliance with hours, and again, conversations with our Teachers Association regarding the last day of school for our teachers as well, and how all that will then finalize as well. So, board members, I bring this for your approval this evening. I ask you for any questions that you may have, and then upon, with hopeful approval this evening, I will implement a robust communication plan tomorrow. I've already drafted a press release, assuming that the plan would advance. If not, I will make the adjustment, and that we will put this on our website, put this out to the community. Also, then Dr. Ridgel, who is not here, he's right here back there amongst our students, will then adjust our regular calendar that we have, our formal document. That too will be on our website, both the press release and the adjustment to the calendar, and an alert sent out to the community. I ask our principals to communicate as well, often and regularly, but it gives plenty of notice up until spring break and then for vacation plans. So I end with that, and very pleased to bring this for you this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Martirano. Board members, questions or comments? Mrs. Crosby.
I think you did an excellent job fluctuating as the weather fluctuated, if that's the way to say it, because
Yeah.
and right now, it's all gonna be okay. It won't happen.
Thank you. Good. We're going to do some
And
long...
thank you for all your work, because this is like checkers and chess combined, and
It is.
that's very good.
It's been a very, thank you, and it's been a very protracted winter. I mean, and I want to emphasize that. I mean, the duration of it started December 9th, taking us up to today. You know, over the course of December, January, February, March, 4 months. And again, if you think about it, not one major, really, really big event. You know, it was just this protracted, constant events coming. And, you know, even today, you know, conversations about should the superintendent have done a 2-hour delay, all those things, et cetera. I mean, those are constant conversations in communities about this. And I give the community assurance, we take this very serious, never to jeopardize the safety of our young people, our staff, our parents. And, you know, we have gauges where we're measuring the temperature of our roads. We have people out early this morning. We had a number of power outages. I can tell you every power outage from 3 to 5 o'clock this morning in St. Mary's County. Fortunately, all of that was brought on while people were sleeping and doing all that. We're up doing all those things and communicating. And every day has been like that, where there's great data taken into account and following it. So thank you for those comments, but this is our plan forward now.
That's good.
Thank you, Mrs. Crosby.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Thank
Matthews.
you, sir. Good plan. I just hope spring is here.
Yeah, same here.
Other than that, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's something you're always have to fiddle with.
Well, and as we were talking throughout this process, and several of the board members have reminded me of this, in Southern Maryland, it's not just confined to winter events. Keep in mind, over the last several years, we've had some pretty mild winters, but our days have been associated with hurricane events and other state of emergencies. So it's been an incredible journey since 2010. And I think I do vividly remember, because we keep track of this and our data points on all of this, that we actually had one year where we didn't use any. And then another year we used maybe one with it, and then we shortened the year on those. I mean, those days are like gone, it seems like, in that sense. But again, always keeping at the heart of this the safety of our young people and the instructional focus as well. And I do want to remind you that the state board and the state superintendent approved this based upon what we did collectively to mitigate locally, to provide additional instructional time for our students. It's not just a free pass because you made a recommendation and a request for X days, but they allowed up to 5 days. We got the maximum amount, and the case had to be clearly made that we did things to mitigate locally. Thank you.
Mrs. Washington.
Of all the options, this is the best option.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Mrs. Allen.
I think we're always proactive in the fact that we add those days on to the
Yep.
end of the year. We make allowances for the possibility of snow. There are many counties that choose not to do so. And so you think you have your last day of school, and then lo and behold, snow comes along or a weather event comes along, and they keep adding days and adding days and adding days. That is not the way we have conducted ourselves, and I think we're better off by giving the gift of taking them away when we can
Right.
than
Right.
taking away at the end. I don't think there are any perfect solutions, but I've been consistent in my concern about adding days to the very end of the year.
Right.
Because it's not, it never turns out to be good instructional time. In choosing May 2nd, unfortunately, we're having to give away a professional development day. And I think all of us here understand the importance of professional development
Right.
and ongoing professional development for our teachers so that they can be as effective as possible. But in this instance, giving that day back to seniors, making sure that they're in class, and especially before the end of the year and before some of the testing they have to go through, will be an effective use of time for them, as well as our other students.
Any
So-
seniors in the audience tonight? Are you happy with what I said there? Yeah, good, I'm glad. Y'all thought you were gonna get, see, the goal for our class, and I know our students well, I got the largest Twitter following in town, and they're all students, I'm up to like 2,400 somewhere in there. They were all hitting me last night to make sure that I was gonna try to close today, they're comical. I do have to communicate with one student at Great Mills, he sent me a picture, he said, this is piling up fast, and he sent me a picture of grass in the courtyard at the school. I'm not sure what was piling up fast, so I'm gonna go back and talk to him and see who his science teacher is on that end of it.
Well,
But again, the whole aspect of, allowing that quality time, notice the words that I'm using, quality, meaningful time to make up instruction. When you add on at the end of the year, I also know what occurs. As much as I expect quality instruction to occur to the last day of school, I'm also realistic what happens on the last day. It's a half day. And the fact is, I'm very concerned about meaningful quality time throughout the school year. And that recoups that as well.
It's important that we're not doing this as a check in the box to just say we've
Correct.
done it. So I think you've put forward a reasonable plan, and the letter that went forward to the state board was both timely and effective, so thank you.
Thank you. And the other piece too, we always got to recognize that it can always be worse. Memorialized in the press release put out from the state to make us feel just a little bit better. Garrett County used 20, and having been someone who grew up in that area, I remember the worst storm of my life occurred on Easter morning in April. So they're not quite out of the woods yet, or the snow, however you want to put it. And Allegheny is up to 16, and they had a 2-hour delay today. So those individuals have greater pieces, and then some of those counties also don't build them in. So they provide that early date for saying we're going to get out, and then have to make the adjustment and add it on. So, I'm pleased with this as well. Dr. Raspa?
Thank you, Dr. Martirano. The forsythias are blooming and the birds are singing. So that means spring is got to be here. Hopefully. Right, Mr. O'Meara? The ospreys are back, right, Mr. Matthews?
Saw those, yes.
Keep remembering that old commercial, it's not nice to fool Mother Nature.
Right.
Right, absolutely.
That's true.
Board members, The chair at this time will entertain a motion to approve the most current adjustment plan.
I move that the Board of Education approve the most current calendar adjustment plan as presented by the superintendent for the St. Mary's County Public Schools calendar and the Chesapeake Public Charter School calendar that will supersede any calendar adjustment made at the February 12th, 2014 board meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Everyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. Dr. Martirano?
Okay. Thank you, board members.
I know it's taken a lot of time, a lot of conversation, and right up to the last few minutes here.
Yeah,
We're
Truly,
still working on it, and I know
True.
you're still thinking.
truly. I'm delighted that we were able to communicate this to our community, and the word is agile and nimble. And for the reporters in the audience, we'll get a press release out to you first thing in the morning. I think you were able to get everything necessary. So thank you.
Okay, moving along, information items, National School Library Month. Mrs. Greeley.
Good evening, Dr. Martirano and distinguished board members. It's my honor to remind you that April is National School Library Media Month. And Mrs. Washington, what a great little intro with your library selections for heroes. I do know that that project was a project built in collaboration with the library media specialist. So that's just another fine example of how media centers help instruction. As you know, it takes a village to ensure that our students are college and career ready. And so to that end, our libraries support student, staff, and instruction. The mission of our school library program is to foster the development of effective and ethical use of information and ideas while advocating for lifelong reading and learning habits by providing instruction, resources, and services to our staff, our community, and our students. And the school library media program impacts learning, and this comes from a national study, by providing materials that encourage growth and development, as well as develop literacy, cultural and aesthetic appreciation, and ethical standards. We meet individuals' needs, varied interests, abilities, socioeconomic backgrounds, maturity levels of students. And we provide physical and virtual access to resources. And then, of course, the most important thing we do is we collaborate with staff and students to support the most appropriate services for instruction. Yet it's been a transition to the Common Core that has solidified the school library media program as a major contributor to students' academic success. Throughout all the disciplines, keywords that connect to the school library standards are research, reading, information, writing, text, technology. The Maryland School Library curriculum is a reflection of those Common Core expectations, but most importantly, it makes sense of information gathered from diverse sources by identifying misconceptions, main and supporting ideas, conflicting information, and point of view or bias. And through interdisciplinary projects, our students work in the classroom and in the school library media on inquiry-based research processes, the application of critical thinking skills as it applies to information and knowledge, and the construction of new understandings by drawing conclusions and creating new knowledge. Since the snow event prevented some of our school library messages that I have a videotape at the end of this for, I wanted to give a shout out to Mrs. Brenda Hager, whom you all, I believe, know very well, who was nominated as Leonardtown High School's Teacher of the Year. She and all of our media specialists wear many hats as a teacher, an instructional leader, and as an administrator. Now please relax and enjoy as you watch how libraries change at your library, or lives change at your library.
April is School Library Month. St. Mary's County Public Schools are celebrating by speaking up about what they love most about their libraries and what their libraries do for them.
The library is such a big help in all my studies. I've taken 7 AP classes here at ChopperCon, and there's not a single class that I haven't taken that I haven't used the library for.
It helps me get my work done in school. Any type of homework or projects that I have to do, I can get them done at the library, and I don't have to worry about them when I go home.
When I was little, I was too sick and in the hospital, and I did not have the opportunity to go to the library. But when I was not sick anymore, I was able to go to the library and my mom would read to me. That's probably my first real memory of the library. Now, in our library, we have more than just books. We have technology.
All sorts of technology are now available at many of our schools' libraries. Libraries across the county have received ebooks, laptops, iPads, and iPods to pave the way for the future of our students' learning experiences.
I spend a lot of time looking at the curriculums and all the different subjects, and I'll send emails out. I'll map the resources that we have in the library to what they're doing each marking period. So it's easy for me to, call a science teacher and say, hey, I see you're working on DNA. We have the iPods with the DNA damage app on it, and we have a science teacher using it today.
Teachers and students alike find that the library is an incredible and reliable resource.
I just want them to know that the library and the media center they are both very valuable resources for their success in English class. And I just want them to feel motivated to read not just for school, but for their own personal enjoyment as well.
Media specialist Michelle Lowe of Margaret Brent Middle recommends students use online databases when doing research for schoolwork as a source of accurate and reliable information.
It's important for the students to use the databases because when they come in, the first thing they always want to do is use Google. Well, when they use Google, they end up with millions of results, and to sift through all of those results is very time consuming for one, and they also have to determine whether or not they're accurate. If they use the databases, they know the information they get is reliable, it's limited, and it's more on point of what they're looking for.
When I come to the library, I like to look at the books first because I know that the internet might not always be factable if you're not looking at the database. So I come to the books first, and if I can't find anything, probably go to the computers and look in the database.
The innovation of the media centers allows students of a new generation to develop a connection to their library, promoting lifelong learning, starting at the elementary level and continuing through graduation. Ms. Hazuda of Hollywood Elementary has created collaboration between her library and technology by starting a blog where students can post book reviews.
We have a book review called Have I Got a Book for You? And the students fill out their book review, I read through it and approve it, and then with parent permission we put it up online with a picture of the book and the student. And then if I'm in contact on Twitter with the authors, I'll tweet to them to check out the book review and ask if they would leave a comment. I've had success with 2 different authors, Jodie Feldman from the Gollywhopper Games and Michael Buckley from the Sisters Grimm series. And they've been so kind to leave such wonderful comments to inspire and excite our students.
Your school system works hard to adapt for the new generation. Take advantage of the technologies they have provided to study, work, read, and learn in a way you've never been able to in your library before.
We are here to let you know.
We are here to let you know.
Ridge Library is a place to grow.
Ridge Library is a place to grow.
Miss Cummings is the teacher here.
Miss Cummings is the teacher here.
In the right direction she will steer.
In the right direction we will steer.
Every Monday when we go.
Every Monday when we go.
We can truly say we grow.
We
watch every day.
So board members, I hope you will take a moment during April to go visit a media center. And I do recommend that you read Stacy Hazuda's blog. She actually gets contacted now by authors prior to publication so that they will send her books because they want her to blog ahead of time. So that she times her blog at the same time the book is being published. So please visit our libraries. I know you support our libraries, and I just wanted to bring that back into the forefront as April is School Library Media Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Greeley.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely. Okay, the next information item is the STEM capstone internships. Mr. Jason Hayes. How are you, Mr. Hayes?
Doing very well, thank you. How are you? Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
As you guys know, I am very new to this job, and so far, one of the main highlights of my job has been going down to Great Mills High School to see the STEM capstone presentations. I've heard for many years how wonderful they are and how much hard work goes into them on our students' behalf. And this is the first time I got to see it firsthand, and I was just absolutely amazed by the quality of material that the students presented. And we have a neat opportunity tonight to have some of our STEM 12 students present to you folks what they did. And the students we have here tonight are ones that did their internships with SMCPS. We have some that interned through the Department of Maintenance, and that's Mr. Larry Hardwick. And we had 3 of the 4 students that are here tonight. They interned with Mr. Jim Corns and the Department of Technology. So I'm going to be bringing those students up here in a few minutes. Before I do that, I would like to thank the families of the STEM students that are here. I would like to thank the students for coming as well. And also we have some of our STEM Academy representatives here. We have Miss Rhonda Morgan, Miss Jeanette Offenbacher, and we have Miss Katina Quick-McQueen. These are some of our STEM Academy teachers and administrators, and they are the ones that are working with the students every day, especially throughout the internship process. Just to give you some background information about what the internship entails. Between the junior and senior year, that summer before the student's senior year, every STEM student will take part in an internship. A minimum of 100 hours is required for the internship. Students must complete a minimum of 90 of those 100 hours before the first day of school. The entire 100-hour internship must be completed by January 1st of that school year, of that student's senior year. Students all along throughout the internship are expected to keep a handwritten anecdotal log during the experience to document their work. They will share this log with their internship teacher, who is Ms. Offenbacher. They also share that with the STEM administrator, who is Ms. Katina Quick-McQueen. This all leads up to the culminating capstone presentation, which this year occurred in the first week in March. STEM students lead a presentation to parents, mentors, invited guests, and STEM 12 students as the culminating activity of the STEM Academy program. And as I said before, this was my first year of seeing these done, and I was gracious enough or grateful enough to go down and actually be one of the judges for the presentations. And I look forward to doing it again next year and years to come. With the internships, we try to match up the internship experience with what the student is going to be interested in doing for coursework after high school, after getting out of the STEM Academy. Some examples, we have a terrific partnership with Pax River. Many of our engineering students go on base and work with the engineers there. Our medical students that are going into the medical field or interested in the medical field, we have another wonderful partnership with MedStar St. Mary's Hospital. And this year, as I said, we had 4 of our STEM 12 students that interned with St. Mary's County Public Schools. It is my honor tonight to present 4 of our STEM 12 students. First, I would like to introduce Ms. Casey Sheets. She did her internship experience with Mr. Hartwick at the Department of Design and Construction. At this time, I'll call Casey up to do her presentation, and then we'll get to the next one.
So, Jason, I'm delighted that she's here, you know that.
Yes.
As well as all of them. But what I wanted to highlight, as I was able to witness a number of these, and not as many as I would like, but I came in on the perfect timing of this presentation by Casey, who used our school system for her analysis. And I was absolutely thrilled with that. So, Casey, take it away. You know how proud I am of you, and more proud this evening.
Okay, as Mr. Hayes says, I'm Casey Sheets.
Casey, could you move that microphone closer to you?
I completed my internship with St. Mary's County Public Schools Department of Design and Construction. My mentor was Mr. Larry Hartwick, and I also worked with Miss Tanya Parker, Mr. Todd Whitlock, and Mr. William Gross throughout my internship. I chose the Department of Design and Construction based on various engineering projects that I've completed throughout my 5 years in the STEM program. I want to highlight my science fair project for my junior year, where I tested the heat transference of different colored roof shingles. With this project, I won various awards, including placing in the engineering, materials, and bioengineering at both the county and the regional levels. I worked on many different projects, including the Spring Ridge Middle School renovation, which was my main focus of my internship. I also was able to attend a couple meetings for the Mechanicsville Elementary School parking lot, Greenview Knolls Elementary School HVAC renovation, the Captain Walter Francis Duke Elementary School pre-bid and bid meetings, and I was able to visit Esperanza and look at their roof drainage system. Some of the challenges I faced, I really only faced one major challenge, which was completing my hours before school, because my mentor and I's schedules did not completely match up perfectly. So the solution that we found to this problem was actually turned into one of my opportunities, which was to be able to see the financial part of the department. One of the things that I did with Ms. Parker, who is the contract and fiscal specialist within the department, was to compare contracts with what the companies said that they would charge us, to make sure that there wasn't any monetary discrepancies. I was also able to do research throughout my internship. My research was mainly focused on the solar energy technologies, because we are looking to make Spring Ridge a LEED certified school. And so this picture here is a task that Mr. Hartwick had me accomplish, where I took the outline of the Spring Ridge roof plan and I traced it onto a transparent sheet of paper, and then I took the solar panel scale model from Carver's plan, and I was able to trace as many solar panels onto the roof of Spring Ridge as possible, assuming that the weight of the roof would hold everything and that we had unlimited funds.
Back over here. A little bit too official.
This research led me into my case study. Within all of the solar energy technologies, there's so much that I researched that I really had to focus in on one aspect of solar technology, and that aspect was the solar thermal technology. And I was able to focus on 3 different types. This first one is a power tower system, and then there's also a disk engine system and a trough system. All 3 systems work in the same way, where they focus the sun's rays to a focal point, which there's normally a hot oil or a molten salt that gets heated and then transfers the solar energy into usable energy for us. So where am I going in the future? I've been accepted to Penn State University University of Maryland, Virginia Tech, and Drexel University. From Drexel University, I've received 2 scholarships totaling $14,000. I plan on majoring in architecture with a possible minor in mathematics, and I have decided to attend Drexel University in the fall.
Very nice.
Thank you very much, Casey.
That was outstanding. Casey, you did a nice job. So, your mentor, Mr. Hartwick, is masterful. He spends a lot of his time at that podium doing those presentations to provide the justification needed to advance the projects to our Board of Education, and that financial piece becomes critical. So I mean, all the projects were wonderful, but I was pleased with the direct application to our school system and the work that occurred. Larry, thank you for your work there, to the rest of your staff as well with it. Anything you want to say?
I'm so glad we didn't discourage Casey from a career in architecture.
That's great. That's good. I don't know where you got that unlimited resource piece. I think you might want to go back and teach that again. I'll give you the reality of that if you'd like to have a one-on-one. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And Casey, you're here with your parents tonight, right? And your brother? And we're doing some tweeting as we're doing the night. We're all there's a whole something going on right here, board members. I need to inform you about that. Everybody's tweeting each other's accomplishments and pictures. Are all active back there and sending me messages. And how many times have the fact that I've said about the last day of school being June 12th, it's been retweeted. It's going right now. It's going viral in the community. There's a sub-level of communication happening right in front of you today, which is wonderful. Go ahead, Mr. Hayes, continue.
At this time, I'd like to call up Ms. Sonia Lee, Mr. Bradley Post, and Mr. Chris Duncan, and they're going to present their internship experience with the Department of Technology.
And this one is phenomenal, too.
I'm only allowed 40 seconds, so I'm going to try to be fast.
How'd you come up with that amount?
Okay, so we were on a Drupal system. Well, let me say first that we changed the school system over to this is the old school layout. It was on a Drupal system, which was an older, clunkier content management system. And we moved that over to what is Joomla. It's a newer system, and it's definitely a lot faster. It has a much sleeker look. And I'm running out of time already.
No, you're fine.
This is how we edit all the content. We added all the information from the old websites. There's ways to access it as an administrator where you can edit every single article, or like, for example, this is Miss Willis's page where she can access the College and Career Center, but none other pages.
We also added some new items to the template and sort of made the website look newer, more modern, and also more user-friendly. We added like a rolling slideshow to all the sites that was previously on the SMCVS site. We added nicer buttons and a more sleek display menu. We added navigation bar and a footer, which allows you to move through the website more easily and see important information. And also, the website scaled to different views for different devices, so there's a very readable mobile view and tablet view. And we also added a calendar that took care of school events and news feeds. So if a principal had a Twitter account, then that Twitter would come up on their website. And also, there was also the press releases came up immediately on the site when they were distributed. And we also had a search bar and a button to report absences.
Can I? Because I was kind of threatened about that. I'm not naming any names. So, I'm sorry, there's a checklist. I have to say everything. To make it simpler for the structure of moving over to this entirely new system of new articles, new buttons, new everything, we made some school documentation of frequently asked questions, or what we would think would be frequently asked once we actually implemented anything or gave them anything to question. And we handed that to them, and then I hand this off to Brad.
So the documentation we created had hyperlinks that allowed users to jump to different parts of the documentation and gave step-by-step instructions on how to do most of the tasks that any user would be doing.
And after that, we went to every school and instructed someone or multiple people how to use the website. Sometimes it was principals, sometimes the principals just kind of sat there while we explained to librarians or other technology specialists on how to use the website and how to keep it updated.
For my case study, I asked for feedback from parents and students, and so I found that the favorite features were the Google Calendar and the student absence and search buttons. I found that the features that were ranked the lowest on a scale from 1 to 5 were the new footer and Twitter feed, but those were ranked neutral. So in general, people liked the new website. And the average ranking was between a neutral and a like. And there was some suggestions about, concerns of keeping the content and calendar updated too.
When was that data collected?
It was, I don't know if you saw on the websites, there's a button that was on all the websites for a couple months. Like November to January, maybe? I'm not sure.
Since then, a lot of the Twitter activity is just blowing up in the schools, at my schools.
So we got a lot of opportunities with this internship. One of them being just real life experience in a work environment, just having a product or something that we need to create and give to people and changing that product to suit the needs of the user and taking in feedback from the user and acting upon the feedback that we get and trying to do the best that we can to give the best product that we can create.
We also learned a lot about web design. I previously hadn't worked with it, and so it was really new for me to learn about, making websites.
And you may think that this was a very odd transition for the three of us to first come up here and seek approval to actually implement the website, to going around and instructing and making documentation, but it really wasn't. Even as seniors, we just kind of intuitively understood this system, and I attribute that to the school program.
We'd like to thank specifically Mr. James Corns and Mr. Jason Pridgeon, who helped us a lot in our internship and basically guided us through the whole experience.
Mm-hmm.
So board members, we highlighted those. Would you agree, Mr. Hayes, and Mr. Smith was involved in this, a lot of people. You did all of the school system, schools' websites, every one of them. And so the board members have visited the websites. They are so now what we need to have, right timely information, Twitter feeds on there, information about the calendar. Board members are always asking. I've asked them to go visit our websites to make sure that accurate information is timely. It sets automatically. It links in with the school system's website. You've had opportunities to present in front of our staff, our DOI team, throughout the summer. I couldn't make that particular meeting, but the relevance of your work has made a direct impact to our school system. Every time I look at those websites, I think of the three of you. And so I'm so proud of you. You know that. And now that we've got an extra day of school in May, let's see what we can get you to do on that May 2nd date as well as seniors. And they're not smiling on that note. But I'm really pleased. And Mr. Corns, thank you. You're just so smart, as well as Mr. Pridgeon as well. And the work that you did, you were really with some fine mentors overall. So I want to give you just a personal and professional round of applause as well, a personal and professional endorsement, because two direct correlations to the work that our young people are doing to contribute to our school system and benefiting from the program. So having Casey there as well as these three fine individuals is wonderful.
Yes, Dr. Marano, we have staff, parents,
Yes.
and members of families. Stand up. Please, stand up.
Right.
And let's give everybody another round of applause.
All of the guys, the folks at the podium, introduce who's with you tonight and who our folk are in the audience. So go ahead and do that. Just take your turn to do that.
Well, my mom's here.
Yeah. Brad, go ahead, Brad. Your mom is here. Tricia
mom's
Post.
here. She's great.
That's great. She's feeling the love.
My everyone is currently at home with a sick child.
Okay.
My mom and sister are here.
Mom and sister. Introduce your teachers as well.
Well, my STEM research teacher and now English teacher, Miss Offenbacher, is here, and my chemistry teacher, Mrs. Rhonda Morgan, is also here.
Yeah, great. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And my only concern was that I couldn't attend all of these, just the few that I was able to sit in on. And your assistant principal's here as well. Did you introduce her?
Yes. Sorry.
Very good.
Mr. Hayes did
Miss
earlier.
Quick-McCreen is also here, the assistant
Thank you.
principal.
Thank you.
They didn't practice that part.
I know, gosh, you got to be able to, one of my concerns for 21st century learners is to be able to communicate effectively and on your feet. So come with me. So my disappointment was I couldn't attend all of those, and I was thrilled that I was able to make the ones that I did, and I'm just really pleased. This is just a small sampling. How many did we do altogether? 35. Yeah, over the course of several days. And you had the big concern about snow as well.
Yes, we did.
How many times did you?
Those days was rescheduled.
Yeah, we were constantly rescheduling that event as well. So this was just a high-level college and that analytical process, capstone projects. Outstanding, guys. We're so proud of you. Tell us where you see yourself next year. Sonia, start with you.
I will be attending Carnegie Mellon in the fall.
And what's your interest?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay. Brad?
I've been accepted to a few colleges. I still haven't fully decided where I'm going to go. I've received scholarships from West Virginia University and Colorado School of Mines, and I've also been accepted to University of Illinois and University of Washington for engineering and computer engineering. Wow. So I'll probably be majoring in computer engineering somewhere.
Okay, wonderful. Chris?
And I'll be attending Iowa State, enjoying all my AP credits and electives.
Tell me how many AP credits you have.
At Iowa State, I have a lot fewer. I have 40. If I went to UMD,
Say that again?
I have 40 right now. If I went to
40.
UMD, it would have been 54.
40.
And how many if you went to UMD?
54.
What's your interest?
Wow.
I'm enrolled as general engineering.
Okay.
That's just because if I don't enroll now, I can't decide to do that later.
Right, wonderful, fantastic. Brad, how many did you take AP courses?
How many AP courses have I taken? 10 AP courses.
Altogether?
If you count this year.
12.
Altogether. So, board members, why we do what we do.
Absolutely.
Why we do what we do. We're so proud of you. And again, Casey as well, fantastic presentation for you, all of you. You just make us, why we do what we do. We're so proud of you. Board members, back to you.
Thank you very much. Fantastic work. Thank you. And parents and staff, thank you. And Mr. Hardwick and Mr. Corns, thank you for taking the time to work with the students and the teachers. Great, absolutely. It's like you say, Dr. Mullen, it makes all of us proud. That's why we sit here. Thank you very much.
Outstanding.
Thank you very much, Board of Education.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, Mr. Hayes, thank you very, very much.
You're quite welcome. One more thing to say, Thursday, April 10th is the STEM Showcase down at Great Mills High School, where all of the STEM 12 students will be showing off their internship experiences, and I welcome all of you down there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, to the students who did the website design, I have many opportunities and take them to look at the websites of other school systems to find out information about their systems and their board members. And I will tell you that our website truly shines. You have only to look at a few others to see that many of the things that you described in terms of ease of use, of being able to navigate them well, that information is presented in a clear manner, and that it is scaled for multiple platforms. That is not necessarily the norm across the state. So thank you, because you make us look very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Future board meeting. The next regular board meeting will be on Wednesday, April the 9th, 2014, at 9 a.m. in this room. This meeting is adjourned.